Aren't you tired of those proteins out there that are chalk tasting um that don't taste good, that just make you feel sick to your stomach and or you're heading to the bathroom every 5 seconds or something like that, or you're feeling bloated and you feel like you can't eat anything after it. So try this award-winning, easy mixing, fast digesting, ISO 100 hydrolyzed 100% whey protein from Dymatize. We are now carrying it at Strong Tower Nutrition. So hop on there, grab your ISO 100, and feel good. Isolate for it's an isolate for your muscles, to support your muscles and to also help you get better every single day and add to your caloric intake and also taste good. Try it out. Strong Tower Nutrition, stnutrition.com. It's my foundation. It's my faith. It's my work ethic. It's my drive. It's everything that I've tried to build for myself that has made me who I am. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. But Eustace, man, what's going on? How you been?
I've been living, man. Been chilling. Steady, slow grind. Working every day. Just doing private lessons and just trying to hang in there during these crazy times. So.
So what is your work?
So I do. Well, I'm a paraprofessional in APA, an Aquanimate School District, and I teach martial arts and American martial arts. So I teach kung fu at night and then para during the day. So I'm kind of like similar to Batman, basically. So.
Right.
So, normal person in the beginning of the day, fighting crime at night.
Yeah.
But then over the summer, to make a little bit extra money, just because teachers sometimes don't get paid that much, I just been doing personal training stuff. So getting guys, young like high schoolers, getting them their personal goals, either, lose weight, just get a little bit more athletic.
Right.
I have a couple kids actually wanted to start working mitt work, so trying to learn boxing and like mixed martial arts stuff. So that's been fun. One kid in particular, he's a funny dude, and he wanted to get into mixed martial arts. And last time I trained him, I think he was like 8 or 9. So it's 10 years later, he's like 18, and he's like kind of like swinging at me like he's like 8 or 9. I was like, no, you're a grown man now. I gotta hit you back. So that's fun, and I've just been working with him. That's like kind of like I like doing. I just like coaching. I just like helping people with goals and just whatever you need, just let me know.
Right.
I have some students where they were big swimmers, so I would like get in the pool with them and just stand on the shallow end. Because I can't swim yet, so I didn't tell them that. But I was like, all right, you're gonna take a couple laps in the pool, do some jogging in place in the pool. But they always like, you're not gonna take any laps. I'm like, I'm good.
I'll let you do it.
I'll let you do it. Like, let me find some floaties or something.
Right.
So just all walks of life. I just cater to like whoever just need it. So.
Yeah, man, that's cool. How did you start? Like the very beginning of all like mixed martial arts stuff. Like, what did you start with? Like karate or?
So I started 2001 with Chinese martial arts, so with Kung Fu.
Okay.
I actually started at the age of 8 going on 9, so I was in the summer camp program over at American Martial Arts. And from there, it went on just from just doing it as like a summer camp thing to actually I actually like doing it. So my mom enrolled me into it. Started doing the after school program, and then from there it just was training. Did the kung fu up until probably 2008. I took a slight break to focus on football and just high school sports. Got into wrestling, and it was just because I think I got my teen black belt. So once I got my black belt as a teenager, it was not a full adult black belt, but we called it a junior black belt. So just in our system, you need to be at least 16 in order to get like a full adult black sash. So it was just, for me, I was like, I still have 2 years, and I'm like, let me try getting into sports and other sports and just utilize my discipline in martial arts, which it helped me a lot in wrestling. Definitely in football, just having the coordination and just the work ethic definitely helped me from martial arts. It's funny that my only goal in sports though was to just get a letterman. So I was like,
oh really?
yeah, I just wanted the jacket because I see all the old movies like Teen Wolf. Everyone, like all the high schoolers had the Letterman jackets. So I was like, all right, well, I can't get a Letterman jacket in martial arts, so let me just try football. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, I actually like it. I'm a big Eagles fan, so I love football. And then wrestling, coach was like, yeah, if you're not good at my coach. Football coach said, I'm your PE teacher and I saw you play basketball and you suck. So and I was like, no way. He's like, oh yeah, you're not gonna start. Try wrestling though. I was like, all right. And then after that, it is actually I always when I see him and all that, I'm like, yo, that was the best advice you gave me. I was like, I had two options. I could have just said, yeah, I suck and gave up and just went home, ate bowls of cereal and all that, chill over the winter. But I was like, no, I took your advice and did something else that helped me with football. So then I got into wrestling and just loved it ever since. It was crazy. Like I was playing offensive lineman and I was 170, 80 pounds. But then wrestling season, a lineman. I know. It's funny. Brand new school. So yeah, they had me on the O line and I played offensive tackle and guard. It's just because I was stronger than a lot of other heavier kids. Right. So it just made sense. Just like if you got someone that can block, put them out there. But then I wrestled and I dropped like 30 pounds. I was wrestling like 152 pounds sophomore year and then 152 junior year. And then I think senior year I was like done cutting weight. So I bumped up to 160. But yeah, it was funny because I was still playing defensive end at $160. So and that's when it's like, for me, I was like, all right, I don't really see a future in football after this, but at least wrestling can correlate into mixed martial arts and it got me thinking about getting back into Kung Fu. So graduated and then I went back to my roots of just doing martial arts again. My instructor, Ron Sukarati, he gave me a call when I was co-oping and I was like, whoa, I haven't seen this number in like, a couple of years. He was like, yeah, you interested coming back, just, try it out, just, see, knock off the cobwebs and basically it took off from there. So like 2010, I graduated, went back and started off just volunteering, assisting with the classes. And then after a while, I was like, yeah, I want my adult black sash. I can't be like 18 years old walking around with a teen black belt. So I grinded, worked it hard, got my black belt like in a year. And then after that, I got on, got on staff, and I've been teaching ever since. And I've been teaching martial arts for like 10 years now. So I know I don't look a day over 30. But, pushing 28 soon, pushing 28. But yeah, it's been a fun journey. And then I think that year I went back into martial arts. I went back into coaching wrestling. So I went back to the same high school, helped out, and I think that kind of added to my arsenal of helping people with the mixed martial arts, just having that wrestling background on top of martial art background. So yeah, and then it just kicked off from there. So I think that's made me kind of diverse of finding out what I want to do and stuff. So
when you got into wrestling, did you know anything like how to do stuff, or they just showed you that way? You know what I mean?
I was in a kids MMA program before I got into high school wrestling. So I did a little bit of grappling, I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, not too crazy. So like I had somewhat a base of like basic takedown and sprawling and just rolling, but yeah, this was definitely starting from ground zero with the wrestling. Like coaches, one of my coaches, his name's Pat Atkinson. He's like a Delaware Hall of Famer, man. He's like 5-time state finalist. He had just multiple like tournaments he just ran through. He's real. I see him as my mentor. So I actually got into running because of him. So I do like half marathons. I'm trying to do a marathon, and he's training for like 100 miler. So,
oh my gosh.
So yeah, talking about that's what I'm saying. Like I'm still stuck trying to get past half of a marathon. So I do those a little bit more often. But yeah, he's on another level. But yeah, he took me from I see him as a dad. He just took me from ground zero and just gave me the basics, and then I just worked, man. It is you work with the basics, and you win with those. So my go-to move in high school was the cradle. So I had wingspan of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I just cradle people up, man. If I get you down with an ankle pick, just wrap, boom, lock it up, and then I got that on the class ring. This cradle king. That's the only move I did, man. Cool. It's just boom, snap down, cradle, 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 this cradle. It's like it's almost the point you knew was coming, and it's just like I used to leave wrestling matches like forearms just throbbing, just from holding that lock. Just I looked like I had Popeye arms, but just on like a bean pole because I was still 152 pounds. So
jeez,
it was good. So yeah, so that after that, I mean, that's kind of like my philosophy is right now with coaching wrestling, being a wrestling coach, just making sure your base is just sound and it's fundamental, and then all the other fancy stuff. I mean. It could work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a move, but it's like it's not the same doing the basics. Just hard double leg.
Yeah.
You know, I worked with Becca and all that. She could tell you I always say legal pain. So anything I can do legally to beat you up, I'm doing it. And if you don't like it, oh well.
Exactly.
We could be friends afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, is she your first like fighter? Have you had fighters before?
No. So she was actually first time ever. Just flipping gears from like I guess high school type wrestling into like actual like getting into a cage fight. So it's definitely different from teaching kids MMA to adults because like you know adults hit harder. So I got to make sure she's fundamentally sound and it was awesome just working with her. As soon as you gave me the call and said hey. Or you called your dad and your dad was like, I know a wrestling coach and we got on board and I was like, this would be awesome. Like I like it just because the adrenaline rush. Like I'm not in the cage, but I feel like I'm out there with
them. Dude, I'm the same thing. I'm shaking and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm bouncing around in my head. I was like, boom, boom, just dipping and dodging and just like I'm getting after it just in my head and I'm like, man. This is not for me. I don't want to get punched in the face. I like punching things, but
I love watching people get punched in the face, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, defending yourself and doing it for sport, two different things. So it's definitely an honor just working with Becca. It's like it's so much fun. Just rolling on Sundays and stuff. We usually Sunday afternoon we get after it, catch up a little bit, and then after that we just get to work and just get ready. Whoever's the next person want to step toe to toe with her, we just train for that. Trying to get Heather in it too. So trying to get her there. I feel like it'd be a great matchup between the two of them. Just the T-Rex and the giraffe. So I'm trying to make it happen. I keep talking about it. I'm gonna make it happen. That's a match made in heaven.
Hey man, who knows? But so is wrestling for MMA different at all than wrestling in like high school or anything like that?
So in MMA is like wrestling is very very crucial just because you got to defend shots. You got to be good at taking people down with that wrestling. But you think about it, like with wrestling in high school, the main idea is basically like pinning someone down and you just dominating that person. Where in mixed martial arts, you do want to dominate that person, but you also got to look to score, either knock them out or look to like control them and all that. And also it's like, once you get up in the UFC, you got to sell fight. So no one just don't want to watch you just lay on top of someone for like 6 minutes and all that. So you actually got to do something. So, but if the wrestling and MMA, you got to kind of take people down, know how to keep them down, but also transition into jiu-jitsu. So like if I can take you down, where I'm going to next. Like I'm looking for an arm bar, looking for, a choke, something, looking to take your back. Yeah. So it's like the MMA with wrestling, you got to bring jiu-jitsu and other grappling into the mix and all that. So definitely vital because you see a lot of great UFC fighters out there with that wrestling background, like DC, Triple C's that just retired, Khabib,
Khabib, Tony Ferguson,
and it's just like you see them dominate other people who don't have a strong wrestling background. You're just like, dude took him down like 6 times in 1 round, and you got to do that for 2 more rounds, like it's crazy. So
because they always say too is like so say like when a guy has a wrestling background versus a guy that does jiu-jitsu or something like that, they always give the advantage to the wrestler. Right. They say like if you have wrestling in your background, like you're most likely going to win in MMA.
And it's crazy too because it's like I tell people like the workouts, the practice is so much harder than the actual like sport itself.
Oh, dude, tell me about it. So one time I played soccer in high school and I used to train with the football team.
Right.
And so I don't know. I think I was in the building one time, and the wrestling coach. Oh, I know what it was. The wrestlers and the football players started did like a workout together or something
Right,
like
yup,
that.
yup.
And he said, "Oh, next time you got to do our workouts or whatever." So we did that. I was like, I have never done any till this day. I've never
Yeah.
done something harder than that.
It's different. It's definitely, and I try to keep
Yeah.
that history going because I tell people it's harder now because it's like you don't want to scare people away because it's almost harder now to fill these wrestling teams just because a
No one
lot of
does
kids
it.
are just playing one sport. Like kids are sticking to off season lifting for that one sport or just
Right.
not doing multiple sports. So it's like when I do get kids to come out for wrestling, I'm like, I'm not trying to scare them, but I'm like, you guys don't even know. I didn't even scratch the surface of the workouts we were going to do. Like,
Yeah.
I remember one time I coach, I always tell people, I was like, one winter break, we had practice, and like he had us tie our hoodies to our ankles, and then he put like a 45-pound plate on the hoodie, and then we like army crawled across the mat, and then we got up and ran stairs, and we used to run stairs till like the windows fog up. So you can it used to be hilarious. Like we're running with sandbags up and down stairs, and like we weren't done until the windows were fogged. Or if like someone put down the sandbag, it's like, all right, another 5 minutes. You're like, so then it just hold us accountable. But it's like I told you, it was different. Like I lift weights for football players. I worked out with track and just running and stuff. But like this wrestling was just a hybrid. You're just like, what is this? It's like almost mental, like for you, like you're mentally getting beat up and physically. So,
Exactly.
definitely.
But that's what it needs to do to you because that's the kind of toughness you got to have as a wrestler.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how do you feel about? Because I have my own opinions about it, but I want to know how you feel about like the way they drop weight.
Okay.
Whether it's in high school, whether it's in even the UFC, like people have problems dropping weight because they want to do so much at the last minute.
Yeah. Now, weight cutting is crazy, man. Like I used to not really stress about it my first couple years wrestling, and then like senior year like was my hardest year because like I was trying to bulk up for football, and then to go from like 170 something back down to 52, it just wasn't happening. I mean, I tried to eat clean, I was drinking water, running, I was running with trash bags, hoodies, and just was trying to make it because then like in high school they do a body fat testing now. So with the body fat testing, it lets you know like how much you can actually drop and all that, which is good. So you don't have like kids back in the day used to like really cut like 20 pounds in a day, which is like crazy. But a lot of times it's water weight, and it's not good for you to just do that so fast. So I mean, I just saw like a flashback of the Ultimate Fighter. The very first one, when I forgot who was it, but he dropped like 24 pounds in a day, like. And like they had him in the sauna for like 10 hours riding a bike, just depleting. Like I'm like, why? Like what? Like what is there to gain? Is like either get better at your craft at another weight class and fight there, but it's always like a mental thing too. It's like, all right, I'm gonna struggle against this guy who cut down from 82 at 70, so I might as well cut down to 60 and be the bigger guy down there at 60. But then you got the whole sacrifice of like, all right, you can't eat like when you were 170, you got to actually maintain. So, I also see it as a discipline too. So, like with weight cutting, like if you have the discipline to like maintain your weight and like cut correctly. But just the whole losing the weight, just a lot of weight really fast. I mean, there's pros and cons to it. Like I'm not totally against it, but I'm not like all the way for it either. Just because just seeing what it does to like the professional level, and then seeing it at the collegiate level. And then seeing it at, the youth level, high school, and all that. Because a lot of times people and coaches, parents too, like get kids in that mindset from like youth wrestling, like 8-year-olds trying to cut weight. I'm like, they're still trying to develop and all that, like and
it's mess them up, especially girls.
Exactly. So I mean, like I tell a lot of people too. You see a lot of like young wrestlers where they always try to characterize wrestlers as these short, stocky people. I'm like, cause a lot of times they get them hitting the weights and just like messing with their growth process because
sometimes
they're like, all right, you got to be like this weight by this year because this kid is graduating. Because I'm like, that's too much, man. Just let the kids have fun. Just wherever weight you at, go at it. And that's kind of like I did. I told my coach, I was like, hey, I can't make 52. I'm gonna go 60, but I'm gonna bust my behind and get and still be the same person. Just I got bigger kids to toss now, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
at 160, 171. Because as a coach too, like it doesn't matter where you at weight. If your coach that day say, "Hey, I need you to go up a weight class to go against this kid,"
Yeah.
you were doing it. Like I
Right.
went 20 pounds up one time, but like I made sure my weight was like 3 pounds over 52, so I couldn't technically go 52.
Yeah.
But then it gave me the opportunity to weigh in at 60, so then I can bump up to 70. So it's
Right.
like because that's what the team needed. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like so. The weight cut, it's just funny. I mean, with training people just dealing with weight stuff,
Yeah.
it's a science to it, and you got to do it right. If not, it's very
It
taxing.
is, but what hurt, like, what I don't understand is, like, for a sport that's been doing it for so long,
Right.
like, you think you would get it. You know, like people in the UFC are still struggling. Like, they weigh in shaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And need like IV. They get
And it's
more
like,
weight on.
I've read a lot about different methods that people in the UFC or the MMA in general use,
Mm-hmm.
and different coaches and stuff like that. Like, I even read about a coach who was he was kind of like dissing like the bodybuilder way,
Okay.
because that's kind of what I take from, because that's what I was in.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I dropped weight doing that, and I mean, I was like 250 in the off season, and I competed at like 175.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
But you did it.
but I did it pretty healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't do it all last minute, and that's what I do with Becca.
Yeah.
Is that it takes time. You know what I mean? We slowly get there, and I actually have her there before she even has to go weigh in.
Right.
And that's my goal, is to do that, and for her, because in that way she can still perform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because how do you think you're going to perform when you're weighing in shaking
Literally.
and you're starving?
And that's the only thing you think about
And
is food.
and just because you get like a day to replenish, that day's not enough.
No, you're still
You know?
recovering the next day out of that, like for the fight, like during the fight, as you're walking out there to the fight or the wrestling match, whatever you're doing, you're still like recovering from that.
Exactly,
You're
and
warming
that's
up to it.
man. I mean, and that's just what I've never understood. You know, but
I mean, hopefully, like you said, it's been done for years. So, I mean, I think it's slowly getting to a point where it takes someone looking in, like into the sport, like people who are not in the sport anymore, but looking in and looking back to their past and their struggles, to say like, yeah, we got to stop doing this. This is like not like good for you. Like because like I said, like in high school, there's a hydration test where like at the beginning, like midway through October, they're like, all right, have you guys line up, check height, weight. This is how much you can weigh. And then now it's like digital, where the kids, like my guys, can go online and see this week they can only be this much like weight.
Yeah.
And then next week when they weigh in, they can be this much. So if you're looking to be a weight class under by states,
right,
you need to make sure you're on track like with this. So if you try to go to like, let's say I have a kid at 126 who want to go 120, but he's been weighing 128 like almost majority of the year.
Yeah.
You're not going 120 because most likely that week or two before states, your thing is saying you can only go to 125. So you haven't even like gotten like to that point where you can try to cut 2 pounds, which is not that bad, but still it's like, but it's holding them accountable. So if you do want to be that weight, you got to do it right and you got to maintain it. Because as soon as you go up, like if you drop too much weight in like high school wrestling, they see like if you weigh like I say 126 again, and you weighed in that day at 125, like okay, but then the next time you weighed in, you went back up to like 128. That's your whole track. So it makes you like, all right, now you're working towards 132. You're like, whoa, I'm not a 132 pound.
Yeah.
But you had a burger over the weekend, homie, and now now your weight went up during that weigh-in, so now you got to figure out how you get back on track. So I think hopefully they start doing that at the collegiate level, and hopefully they do it at the mixed martial art world. This is where you just got to help these fighters out, because a lot of times they're after it, but they're chasing a check. So they're like, they do whatever for the
especially if they're doing it themselves. A lot of them don't have nutritionists and chefs and all that stuff.
And they're just going off of word of mouth and see what works for someone else. And they're like, all right, I think this works for me. I'm just not going to eat. I'm just going to fast. Like, No, you can't do that. Like, is it? And then like you as a person who like work with trainers, work with back, it's just like it kind of like bothers you to know that people are doing that. You're like,
yeah, it really does.
It's like
because just thinking like you're about to go fight. You know what I mean? You're about to expend so much energy, but you think not eating is gonna help you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's crazy. Like I said, like I struggle with it. Like, cause I love eating. So
yeah, me too.
I love it. Like, like when my metabolism start, catching up to me where I couldn't like eat as much as I was like, oh, now I actually got to burn a lot more because I used to throw down, like, when they say carb overload, I'm eating like 2 plates of pasta, rigatoni, give me 4 breadsticks, like, load that thing up, and I'm like, boom, boom, gone, and then I'm still walking around like a twig. I'm like, I don't know, guys, maybe I got to hit some more body weight stuff. But yeah, like now, can't, and I gotta make sure I eat right now. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you talked about like when you started all this, you were talking about like, oh, then we just got to work, like we just got to it. I'm just thinking like when I was in high school, I was lazy. Like I was good at sports, but I was just lazy. I didn't care. I didn't care to get better.
Yep.
I only worked out with the football team because my friends wanted me to.
Okay. Yep.
And I skipped every leg day. I was a soccer player. That's the one that day I needed. Because coach would come up to me, he would be like, the strength and conditioning coach, DT, and he would come up to me, he's like, Hamrick, why aren't you lifting?
Yep.
I'm like, I'm sore, man. Like,
my legs are shot. Like, no, you gotta get on that squat rep.
Yeah, man. No, I just wasn't having it. But what gave you that drive, like as a young kid, to like want to do that for yourself?
It's crazy. Like I tell people that everyone is bred differently. Everyone has different motivations. For me, I think my motivation, honestly, was just like I just wanted to make people proud. So it's like my motivation is like my parents. They watch sports. Big in basketball, like watching basketball. Like mom did track and stuff. Dad. My dad's from the island, so he did like cricket and like
cool.
and played soccer. Where I'm doing a sport where they're like not like have no idea. Like the only sign of wrestling they know is like Ric Flair. And, like,
that kind of wrestling. Yeah.
So I'm like, they're getting this type of wrestling and getting like in like martial arts and fighting stuff. They didn't really like know how to get it about it, but they know like for me to see like if I came home with a medal placing or like I got my hand raised, like that fed into me, like I want that to keep going, like that makes my parents proud. So then it got to the point where like as I got older, it's like, all right, like I always want to make my parents, they're never not going to be proud of me. So it's like something else got to get me going. So then that's when I think it's just like making other people proud too. Like I was like, like I was proud of myself, but I was like, it felt good like to make my coaches feel like, man, like, Eustace is doing really well. Like that drove me to like work better. My 4th grade teacher from like elementary school added me as a friend on Facebook, and like she was just like, man, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like yeah, like that's like it keeps me motivated. Like that's why I'm a teacher now, just because. Like I know, like from my teachers who inspired me to like to be a hard worker. I'm like, it's true, man. It's just iron sharpens iron. So I just want to keep passing that torch. So I hold the same standards to like my kids that I coach now, like my high schoolers too. I'm like, I get in their grill, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna be real with you. No one else is. Like the world's it's hard. So. This how my parents, they raised me up to like to be like, be ready for just anything. And that's what I do. I take everything and I'm like, I'm gonna get mine. So I'm not gonna like nothing's handed to me. So if I didn't earn that win, I'm just like, all right, I gotta do something to earn it. Like in wrestling, there's forfeits. So like if someone's not in my weight class, I just go out there, get my hand raised, and that's a win for the team. But that used to kill me in the inside because I'm like, I practiced 6-7 hours this week. Made weight, like worked hard and all that, and I just got my hands raised. I'm like, yes, I made weight. That was half the battle, but I'm like, I didn't really battle. So I used to like, just like still work out right after. My coach, like I said earlier, crazy coach. He's used to have us like at the end of our matches, we used to have to run stairs until the next person match was done.
Right.
So regardless, like who was up, doesn't care if it's your boy and all that. You're in the stairs running until they're done. So,
Jeez.
so either you had a quick run if someone had a forfeit, or if it was a long overtime match, you're running stairs.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it just takes this something dig deep to just make other people proud and just happy. Like that's crazy. Like that's my self motivation, just making others feel good and just just proud to say like, yeah, I knew Eustace, man. Like yeah, he works hard. Like I can give him this, this, and this. He's gonna try and build an arc with it. He doesn't know how to, but he's gonna do it. So and that's how I am, man. You just give me something, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go head forward and just get it done and just get after it. So
yeah, man. Because I always think. Like, I see young kids and stuff like that, like in middle school or high school, and they just have this drive. And I'm just like, how do you have that at such a young age?
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just because I didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't really, like, I played sports and I was good at it, but that was about it. I didn't want to go to college for it to play, you know. I had, like, friends that went to Wilmington and they were like, oh, my coach wants you to come here and play. I'm like, no.
No.
You know, I just had no desire to get any better, or anything like that. But then I think it wasn't until like after or when I found bodybuilding. I know it was something that clicked.
Yeah.
It was something that changed. Like I did a total 180.
Okay.
I would have never considered myself, or you could talk to anyone. Like I didn't care about anything.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I shook everything off. I had nowhere in the world. Like I failed 8th grade. I had to do that over. I did summer school every year of high school, and none of that bothered me. I just didn't care. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It was just like.
But isn't that cool to like look back at that too? Like
it's cool to look back now. At the time, like it sucked, but to look back now and the fact that I've done a 180 and I've changed and I have a drive to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
To make a life for me and my wife that we've never dreamt of.
Yeah.
To have fun and just do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see too many people going to their jobs and just like dragging.
Yeah.
And just like, oh, I wake up and even the people I work with, man, like, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know what the word is. Like, not lucky because I built this for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel, I don't know, I feel bad for them.
Right.
I'm just like, you come here and then you go and sleep at home for 12 hours and then you wake up and you come back here.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine that.
No, it's just like boring. It's like, somebody told me it's like the difference between like a job and a career, man. Like, I can count on that, like my hand, almost both hands on me, like different jobs I had, man. Like I worked on pools.
Yeah, me too.
Sudoku on 95. I did security.
Mm-hmm.
I did what else? Shoot, I was I co-opted because I was at a Votech school at St. George's, so I had the co-op, so I had that job. I worked at PJ's Fitzpatrick. That was like my first job at 13 years old, going door to door. So it was like I had jobs, but it was just waking up, going there, and then doing what I love is what I'm doing now, like my career, like interacting with people, working out, training people, training like myself. Like I still like feel like I need to make sure I'm sharp with my tools because like, it helped other people sharpen their tools. So they're like, oh, like
you gotta practice what you preach.
Exactly. If my teachers don't care how he looks or, carry himself a certain way, like why should I care? It's like, and it's like, and I'm capable of doing it. It's not like I lost any abilities of running or any abilities to do anything. So I was like, I don't want to sell myself short because then I like, like you said, you feel so bad when you see people just like, just go through the motions and stuff and just see them there's no flair to it. There's no like spark. That's I totally understand what you're talking about. And like I said, that's why I do what I do. Just because like I need that. Like I can't like this whole being home and doing the online stuff and teaching online. It hurt. It killed me. Yeah, it's bad. Like it's like seeing the kids and teaching them through the screen was cool because I get to see them, but it's like it wasn't the same. Like I don't have that same pep in my step and all that. It's just like, all right, well, see you talking through the screen from the screen. It's like I couldn't wait to get back into like some type of one-on-one or even even now, like I'm back and doing group classes, but we have them like 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Limiting it to 10 kids per class, but still, it was like yes, like.
You should do something.
Yeah, something. And it's just like, and that's like I wake up early and I'm like ready to rock. Like I'm ready to go. 6 a.m. I'm up, breakfast in me. I'm like, let's go. Let's let's do this. Let's fight the day. So
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, nothing has changed for me too much because I do security now.
Okay.
And so that's considered essential. So I've been working this whole time.
Oh.
And then Heather works from home.
Okay.
So we're fortunate enough to be doing still working. You know what I mean? But I mean, the only thing that's really changed is we just can't. You have to wear a mask when you go out.
Yeah.
So we don't really go out. We get everything sent here.
Yeah.
Now that you can do that, just have it show up at your door. I'm like, all right, do that.
Anything, food.
Do that.
Gifts, anything that's right at your door.
But how's you and your wife? How you guys handling this whole thing?
So my wife, she's a certified occupational therapist assistant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to kind of sell her short with her field because I don't know exactly
what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's crazy. I'm not that knowledgeable in it. Like my perspective of it, she's like a teacher / nurse / physical therapist / speech therapist / this. There's just so much in OT that goes on that she does it all. And it's crazy. I'm like, how do you balance all that? Just she's working with my niece right now, just working on just writing correctly. I didn't know there was a whole proper way to you should function and write. I'm like, man, I don't think I got that. Because my handwriting is horrible. I got chicken scratch, so my wife does that, and then so she's been doing a lot of online Zoom also.
Yeah.
But with her, she also worked with a lot of kids with different abilities. So it's it was definitely tougher for her because it's not just her and that kid. She's her, the child, the parent, the nurse, another therapist, and it's just overwhelming where she's used to just being one-on-one in person working with the kids. So it just took time for us to adapt. So that's one thing is I love her for is just we're both on the same page with adapting. You can throw something at us and we're just all right, we figure out how to adapt to it, and then we're back to all right, this is the new normal for us. We're online, we're Zoom, we're one-on-ones. This is the norm. So there's no more we used to have this talk of just when things get back to normal. There's no getting back to normal. It's just wherever you're doing then, that's the new normal. So you just gotta, new normal is just everything getting dropped off at the house.
I mean, it's just going it's going with the punches.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Things are gonna change after you get hit in the face.
Yeah. New strategy, a new way of going and approaching that person out. So exactly. So it's the same way we think, man. It's just we got punched in the face with a virus, and now we're all right, what we're gonna do now? We're gonna just lay there so Corona can keep kicking us, or we're gonna swing back. So we're swinging.
Exactly, man.
We're swinging and thriving. So that's one thing I can say that this didn't really hurt us that much, but we do miss seeing all our friends and stuff and getting together. That do kind of take a toll because I'm always itching to get out because I'm a social butterfly. I'm
right.
I want to play cornhole. I want to get out and barbecue.
Man.
I want to just be out of the house, and it's just tough. So
yeah, I mean, for me, I was very cautious when it first came out when we didn't know anything about it. But over time, I look at the numbers and I do my research. I'm not sitting there watching the news. I'm not getting anything from them.
You're right.
Because I was like, nah, man. They're just
sad. It's depressing.
You got the doctor that everyone's telling you to listen to, and he's flip flopping.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, man, you can't. I don't trust you. That's
all it takes. That one time you're uncertain, and you're supposed to be the one that
everyone the U.S. is looking to,
right?
And you're flip flopping. You can't do that. So, I go to different websites and different, media outlets that I think are credible.
Sources, yeah.
Just
writing paper, you gotta have credible sources. And once you get your list of sources and they add up, then that's how you're gonna dictate what you're gonna do next. So
yeah, because even on social media and stuff, you can see those videos or anything, and you don't know when that video started. You don't know when that person hit record. Right. You don't know what happened before that.
Right. you
You know,
just
or what happened after.
what happened after, and that's
Yeah.
it's crazy because it's like and it's hard for me because like I used to live with my grandma when I first graduated high school. I lived with her, took care of her, and so I understand the whole like watching out for the elderly who are immune systems.
Definitely.
It's like this, and I totally respect that and understand that.
Yep.
And it just got to the point where it's like, all right, it's me and my wife now. We're young 20-something, late 20-somethings. Like we're capable of bouncing back and all that. We're healthy. We're keeping our distance. So it's like, why do we have to change that much more? Where like we're not likely to get sick off it. So it's like I said, I understand the whole carrier thing. And I respect it, understand it. It makes sense to me. I understand. I took science class. I understand. I totally understand. But at the same time, I'm like, if I'm not gonna bring any type danger to anyone else, like I don't think I should be isolated in an igloo anymore for any longer than I need to be. So
and then also science tells you isolation is probably one of the worst things to do for your immune system.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I mean, it's like it's back and forth. It's like, oh, what do you choose to believe? And the fact that you make it political, it sucks.
Yeah, man.
But
that's always a root of a lot of things. Just politics. So
I mean, this year will go down in history. It'll be in the history books.
Yeah,
the year of 2020.
Kids, man, like almost generations are going to be still talking about what happened in 2020.
I was telling someone the other day. I was just like, yeah, man, it all started with Kobe. Yeah. It all started with Kobe. I was like, yo, just imagine what happens when Michael Jordan dies.
Yeah. I don't even want to think about it because you're just like, everyone was just watching that whole Last Dance and all that, and now you're thinking like, something happens to him, just like everything from like, just like, I personally just think like either like, something else is going to pop up that's more crazier than COVID, or just like all his merchandise, like just when Kobe died, like the amount of money like people were spending for some like memorabilia, and I'm like, yo, me personally, like people walk around and have a pair of J's and they already paid crazy amount for. Like,
and the fact that it wasn't just him, it was his daughter. That was supposed to be like, people thought that she would be the first girl to play in the NBA.
Right. She was like, if you see her highlight films, like she was cooking kids of all ages, all gender. Like she was cooking you. Like she was baby mama.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And like I'm a huge Kobe fan because he came from Philly. I'm born in Philly, so like I have huge support. I'm still a Sixers fan. I still show love out in LA. I'm like, yo, he's that guy, man. And like that mentality he has is just like, that's what like we're talking about, and like earlier with like wrestling, just having that mindset and motivation to get after it. Like that's where you want to be, like, and that's sometimes I thought of myself like that too, like that mentality, like I'm getting after it. I don't care who's in front of me. Kobe went against Shaq when he left. He went against Jordan. He went against like all those great Hall of Famers, and it's like didn't faze him because it's another person that he's going to have to.
I mean, even as a kid, when he first got into the league, I heard a story. Someone was saying like they were like, "Oh, Kobe, we're gonna go out." Blah blah blah. He was like, nah, I got practice at 4. He was like, well, there were like practices until whatever time. He was like, no, I have practice at 4. I was like, well,
that's different.
He was a young kid.
That's what I'm saying. It's different. That's what we were talking about earlier. It's different to have that motivation, man.
And that's what made him what he is, And it's funny to see that because it's almost not him and Jordan have similar mentalities,
Right.
I think as Kobe got older, his mentality became more like Jordan's.
Definitely.
But like that kid, like do whatever you have to do to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he embraced that himself.
It's like what in other sports, like who was like that?
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of that, and it's
and
it doesn't matter the sport either. I mean, you see people who are close to it, like Serena Williams.
Serena Williams.
It is just hard, like.
Well, you hear about stories about her and Venus, the way they trained getting older.
Right.
But they were pushed a lot by their dad.
Yeah.
So how much of that was them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying too. Like I'm trying to think too, just like
Tiger
every
Woods.
sport,
I don't
Tiger
know.
Woods,
Yeah.
right?
The one I know because I know his background, I know what he went through and what he did is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
His so he had moved to LA and then he was doing something and then he got a call that his dad died. And they were telling him when the funeral was. He was like, "Oh, I can't come. I got to train." I was like, "Whoa." And then the guys were like, "That's why he was a shark in a pond."
Right.
Like he was a shark.
It's a different mindset, man. There's
Like,
different sharks out there. That's the saying. There's some great whites, and then there's little hammerheads here, a little whale shark here. But those great whites, man, they're different, and they have that mentality of cold stone, man, cold stone killer. Just get out there and whatever craft you're doing, get after it. So I like Arnold, man. It's crazy that I didn't even know that. That's you just told me, so I didn't know he did it on his day.
His mentality was on another level. Yeah. It's like you gotta watch the movie Pumping Iron. So it's like a documentary, bodybuilding documentary. It's mostly about Arnold, and it has Lou Ferrigno in it too.
Oh, okay.
Who played the Hulk, and their mentalities, it was just different level.
Yeah. Like I saw something like that. I think who's it? Ronnie Coleman. He had something on Netflix, and I saw that, and it's like, that's crazy, man. That's a whole nother sport too. Like I mean, you did it, so bodybuilding. That's crazy.
Ronnie is a different animal in a way that he was just so genetically gifted.
Yeah, man.
So genetically gifted. People swear about like all the gear and the steroids that he's done.
Mm.
He gave a list of what he did, and it's not that much. As much as you would think he would be taken, it's not that much. He was just naturally a big dude,
right,
and a naturally shredded dude. You know what I mean? Well, it was funny because he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I actually talked about it on one of my podcasts earlier. Rogan was like, "Oh, what was your lowest body fat?" And he was like 0.33. He was like, "You mean 3?" He's like, "No, 0.33, less than a half."
That's crazy.
I was like, "Well, it's not true." Because you have body fat that takes care of your organs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you're gonna have like at least 1%.
At least.
I think that's the lowest that someone's gotten. But yeah, I mean, you watch his training videos.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I always crack up because he be rocking like jean shorts and all that, just like old school, just old iron, like nothing too fancy, and just a lot of plates.
Well, he started bodybuilding because the gym he was going to, he was like the guy that owned it was like, "Hey, you ever compete?" And he was like, "No."
Right.
And he was like, "You should." He was like, "Okay." He's like, "I don't have any money." He's like, "I'll pay for it." He's like, "And I'll give you a free membership if you compete." So he was like, "I was just doing it for the free membership to the gym."
Yeah.
And then he ended up winning his first Mr. Olympia.
And I was like, "His coach is a great coach. That's a great coach right there, man."
He knew it. He knew it when he saw it. That's what it is. Same thing with Arnold. They saw it and they brought him over to LA, and then he was like one of those, I don't know, just someone that his personality just stuck out. You know what I mean? And then you hear the work that he put in. He took his bodybuilding mindset and put it into acting, put it into his voice lessons, put it into like whatever else he did, being a governor.
Yeah,
he did everything.
His resume is pretty stacked, man.
That's crazy.
And he's still doing stuff.
He's still doing stuff.
He's still popping in movies here and there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And the fact that people told him he would never do anything in like show business. Like he has the most quoted like lines in movies of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I say all the time, you got to get down. Like I try to put on the accent all the time, man. Like you do it all the time.
Get to the chopper.
Yeah, see, you do it. You just like know anything, but you're like, yo, I quote him a lot.
Exactly. Crazy. People don't even know it.
He's definitely like I said, I definitely loved him in the movies and all that, like Terminator and stuff. His newer stuff, like when he got into Expendables, I was excited for. I was like, yo, because like just seeing like people don't understand. Like a lot of people just know him from like his acting, or even younger cats just know him as the governor, and like they don't see where he came from and like what like old Arnold, like that Arnold up there. Like no one knows that Arnold, like the younger guys, and I'm like, dude was a problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I say, imagine if he would have gotten the fighting or something like.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, with his mindset, it wouldn't take long. Wouldn't take long. But so you said you were Sixers fan. Like, what do you think of the NBA that's coming up? Like, what do you think about what they're doing?
I love it. I love that we're getting.
You think you'll still really want to watch it, or?
I mean, I will want to watch it if the players play. If the players play it like they're supposed to, like full, getting after it, wanting to win that championship still, then yeah, of course I'm watching it. But if they're tiptoeing around, not, being cautious because they're still worried about things and stuff, I'm like, nah, I'd rather just, find something else to watch. So I mean, that's what sports is, man. Like sports is like it's meant to be entertainment. It's meant to be. If you're like watching it, it's supposed to be entertainment, and that's why a lot of the owners and GMs of almost all sports, they try to get people in line who people want to watch. Yeah, you don't want to watch something that's not entertainment. You're like, why should I spend $30 for a hot dog if like I'm not being entertained? Like I can go sit at a zoo and like watch animals for $30 and have a good time. Like I'm going to come watch you or something like, or pay-per-view. So I'm hoping that it's guys still saying like, all right, well, we're still trying to get a chip. So it's,
and I think that's the majority. I think that's the majority. Right. You got some players that that are opting out not to play, whether because of the protests or whether because of COVID. But I think majority will play. Right. And having no fans doesn't bother me. I thought it would, but it doesn't.
Doesn't.
Like watching the UFC, I actually like it more because you can hear more.
You can hear more. You can hear the craft behind it. You can hear the coaches, the mindset, and all that.
You can hear the skin on skin, just like the big hits.
You're like, man, that actually hurt. Yeah. So it's so when that's another thing. Like when people's like, oh, that was a boring fight. I'm like, just because he didn't get knocked out, like he took a whooping, man. Like did you not hear that? Like that's like one thing. Like I hope more people will start watching like these like no crowd fights because like it's so much more to it than like gladiator just in a coliseum and you're just like take his head off. Like it's more to it. It's a sport. So that's what all sports, man. It's like it's a craft, and I'm hoping my Sixers. Like I said, like I'm big time Phillies fan till I die. I'm just.
Yeah, me too.
Sixers, Phillies, everything. Flyers, just Philly, everything. Even like so I'm hoping that the Sixers, healthy. I've been trusting this process since AI left. So since Allen Iverson left, I've been trusting the process. So I'm hoping that some us getting in the playoffs these last couple of years has been nice. But I'm like we got to get to the next step. We got to get over that.
Yeah, they got to do something in there, because. It's something with Ben Simmons and Jarrell. They just can't play together because they both want, they want to be the star.
And you got to understand just your place, man. You just got to understand your role, and it's like you got to understand that it's a role where it's like it's more than you. Like your goal is to get a championship. It's not like MMA or wrestling where it's just 1v1. This is you versus one other person. You got 4 other guys, 10 other guys on the bench. Like it's a team effort, and it's like you got to figure out maybe I got to take less shots so that you can excel, or I got to pass the ball more, get the ball out of my hand more, so we can put up points, so we can actually win games. So and then just stay healthy. That's another thing. Just with athletes, just health is a big factor. So you can see all these great athletes, on the court are phenomenal, but they can't stay healthy. It's like they don't do any justice, and it's like KD, love KD. I think he's a cold-hearted shooter. Like he's a scorer. Like he can score. Yeah, and it's just
same with Kyrie.
Yeah, like those guys, like I would want them on the Sixers, but they can't stay healthy, so like it does us no justice.
Exactly.
So I'm looking forward to the NBA getting back, like you said, just with COVID and even with the protesting. I totally respect Kyrie. I respect any players who feel like, they like this. That's their platform
Right.
to say let's make a change with stuff. Like that's I'm okay with that. I'm totally perfect with that. Is that's your calling?
Right.
Go ahead, go at it 100%.
My only issue with Kyrie with that is that he never said anything publicly before that.
Right.
He wasn't even talking about it until then.
And it's like, and that's what a lot of people are saying. It's like, hey, you haven't like voiced anything. You haven't
said anything.
Right. And it's like, and it's the thing that's like normally shoots people in the foot. Like if like what's triggering you? Because then people are going to try to look at, like, is there someone in your air about it? Is it, who's in your air about it? Where if it's just you and you just never had the courage or heart to say it, go ahead and say that. Like don't make it seem like it's something you always, have passion for. Because nobody's seen that. No one, heard you once, seen you at any type of rallies at all.
Exactly.
No, this is a big thing. And it's like, is it because your team's not part of that 22 that's not going on? It's like,
right.
So I was like I said, I am 100%, behind anyone's their opinions. If that you feel strongly like you shouldn't play because you want to set something, go ahead, be about it. But make sure you do it the correct way. Make sure you back it up with facts. Make sure you don't shoot yourself in the foot. Like I just saw what's his face, Steven Jackson.
Oh, dude.
But his thing, he did so much. He's just pioneered and just been doing so well. You're just behind him. You're glad that he's doing. And then he just goes and takes the side of Hitler. It was the whole thing with Deshaun Jackson was saying. You're just what? And then it's just then it just takes away your credibility. That's all it takes. Like you said earlier with the whole the doctors flip flopping things. You do that once, man. People already they're gonna check you out. They're just gonna tune you out, and it's all right. Well, you can't even figure out what side you're on yourself. So,
exactly.
So I'm like I said, I'm excited to watch basketball again. I'm excited to see my Sixers get another trophy, get another ring. I'm looking forward to partying again in Philadelphia with another championship. So
need something.
Need something. And sports, man. We need sports. Sports is entertainment, and I don't know what sports you like, but I tried getting in cornhole. I seen cornhole.
Well, you gotta watch the AFL.
Oh, okay.
Australian football.
Oh,
that's what I've been into.
Okay, I see. Your dad told me about it, but I haven't really gotten to watch it yet, man.
Yeah, man. It comes on ESPN. It comes on Fox Sports.
Is it like rugby? Is it
It looks like it. But it's
rugby.
not. It's a lot faster.
Oh,
a lot faster, bigger hits.
Nice.
The guys jumping on top of each other. There was a guy that explained it. He was like, you know how people get mossed in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
That's all Australian football is. Guys getting mossed crazy. Catches over the back.
Yeah. That's what you want to watch. That's entertainment. You want to see
and it's
that.
So quick. There's barely any stopping. Even when guys are hurt and there's a little roughing, they're fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This morning, my team, we got whooped. But they were the other team has an American. He's the only American in the AFL, and he's 6'10". He's the tallest to ever play in the AFL.
Yeah, he just throw it up, right? And just his arm up, just
No, because he's not even that good.
What?
Yeah, he's tall, but he's not really athletic. You know what I mean? I'm like, you think him being so big, he would grab everything, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
These guys around him are just so athletic and they're just so good.
Right.
But it's such a fast-paced game, and it's just, I don't know, so much fun to watch.
That's crazy you say that. It's just as a coach, that's what coaches look for, though. Like I said, you be in the hallway, you see a kid. For me, if I see a kid walking around 5'4", 5'5", looks, nothing over 120, I was like, oh yeah, you wrestling. You wrestling. If I see you, you're 6'2", 6'3", about over 200 pounds, I'm like, oh yeah, you're wrestling. Go ahead and play football, but you gotta wrestle. Heavyweights, I'm like, I'm gonna get you in the best shape. Wrestling. So I was like, your football coach is gonna love that you wrestle. Get out and wrestle. So yeah, and just it's funny that you say that. Seeing someone 6'10", you're just expecting so much. You're like, that dude gonna put it between his legs, dunk it or something.
Yeah.
And you're he can't even leave the ground.
Yeah, you would think. You would think.
You oh, give me some of that height. Give me some of your, some of your
build. That's what I'm saying. Even when I trained with the wrestling team at one time, the coach tried to get me to wrestle.
Right.
I was like, nah, I like basketball.
Exactly. And yo, you know how many kids I lose to basketball? I was just
I
like,
know.
coach, I'm thinking more of the basketball. I'm like, but they only can put 5 kids on the court, man. Like at least you're starting. Like you're gonna start. Like everyone gets to wrestle. You know, like they don't know the whole like forfeit thing. But I was like, everyone gets to wrestle. Like everyone, there's no cuts in wrestling. Like you cut, like you like quit yourself. There's no cuts.
So wrestling's not getting bigger, like in high schools or anything, like since the UFC's getting bigger.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it's like the same thing. I tell people, it's like, you know, not everyone likes getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
So the same thing with wrestling. Not everyone likes getting slammed and like pretzeled up and stuff.
So maybe it's
like,
wearing the suit.
And that's what I thought too. Like I thought it would be the singlet. Like it took me a while for like when I started too, because like, you know, I was a football player and I was content playing football. But then like even in Kung Fu, like we had our gi and our uniforms. Yeah. And it still wasn't like tight like that. It was like wasn't wearing like a fresh shirt. And then like once I saw like the singlet, I was on the fence on it, especially like freshman year. I was like, yeah, I'm not getting any girls with this. Like I'm like, and after a while, like you know, Coach jokingly was like, oh no, you're gonna get all the girls. You get to show off your muscles and all that, man. He's like, it's like the biggest confidence booster. And like I was like, and I took that too, and I just ran with it. I was like, yeah, if I wear this, man, like it's just you know, like. I just was like, boom, all right, look at me. I'm like walking around and I till this day, I was like, I still look like a fool wearing that thing. But you know, like you know, builders, the bodybuilders be wearing that, the singlets and all that. It's something you just don't like just like go to like, yeah, I'm gonna wear that. It's not something you like, you know, I wanna get a discount of that. And like it's crazy because they're changing the uniforms in like high school wrestling where there's options. So you have the singlet still.
Oh, wow.
You can wear a compression shirt with like kind of MMA shorts, like kind of like the Muay Thai shorts. So like they're gotta be like
so kind of like jiu-jitsu. And
the no-gi shorts.
Yeah.
And so basically like you have that, and then the third option, which is just weird, is like you might as well just wear the singlet. You can wear a compression shirt with the compression shorts. Like it's like looking like you're in the combine or something. Right. So I'm like, if you wear the shirt and the compression shorts, you might as well just wear the singlet. It's the same thing, and it's like it's like a mental thing. There's like, nah, it's different. Like,
I just want their nipples hidden. They really want to pop out or something.
Yo, funny story. Like I had, this is you know, high schoolers. We used to like take bets like on the rest of the team, like when the heavyweights used to wrestle.
Oh,
like,
right.
Who's gonna have a nip slip? And we used to bet granola bars and Gatorades on it. Like, yo, I bet you in the second period, like his nip is gonna slip out. And we used to like do stupid bets like that. I'm like, man. High schools are turds, man. Like now, it's like as I'm coaching them, and I get mad at the stuff they do, and I look back what I was doing, I was like, oh, it's just full circle, man. It's just karma. Like my kids now, like on the team, they do crazy stuff, and I'm just like, why? Like you guys are so weird. Like why is this a thing? And they're like, nah, this is the new wave, coach. This is the new drip, coach. This is what we do. I'm like, nah, that's stupid. Like one thing that gets me is just the warm up. Like you like my coach embedded in my head before you get on that mat, you're warmed up. Yeah. Jump roping, moving it. Like my guys, man, they be sitting there playing solitaire. Like,
See, I couldn't do that. That don't get me mentally prepared.
Like I have guys that sleep, and it's crazy because like they get up and win. Like and it's like, and that's what I tell people.
As long as they do that,
I can't knock it. I was like, whatever they're doing works for them. Like you know, just walking around like you know, me, I'm like clubbing, getting stance motion. Like, guys are just walking, pacing back and forth at the tournament, checking the bracket, just boom, and it's like I'm looking back like, man, my coach would have just lost his mind if he saw that. Like he'd just be like, he'd be ready to kick off the team. Like you better have a jump rope. Like when he come to say, are you ready? And you're the next on that mat, like. You better be like sweat on your forehead to get out there because you know you want your body just already ready for that fight. You don't want to be sitting there just cold and then somebody shoot on you. You're like, oh, now I gotta wake up. Like you should be already awake, getting after it. And like my guys are the opposite. I was just like, I don't know if it's a generational thing or what, but this new like group of like teens that I'm coaching, and they get after it. It's just like late blooming type warm ups. It's just when they get out there it clicks, and I'm like. And like I said, like, you know, it frustrates me, but I'm like, they're winning. If we was losing, we try to fix it. But since they're winning, I'm like, I guess I gotta like, and even like, it's like, all right, well, they're not gonna beat like good guys with that mentality, and they're beating good guys. I had Red Lion had their first state placer. Like I like So one of the kids, Joe Pargo, man, he's a real nice kid. He's the reason why I started coaching at Red Lion. Like I was at St. George's my whole life coaching, and because I went there in his eighth grade year, 5 years ago, he was in cheerleading, and he was just like, I used to wrestle back in the day, and he's like, I kind of want to get back into it, and I was like, for really want to get? I was like, and I was like, and like for him, it's even more crazy because like he's used to wearing crazy stuff because he's cheerleader, so he's like singlet's not gonna. It's actually a lot better for him when you get to show off his muscles and stuff. But yeah, he started at 138 with me, and then like last year, like every year he was placing higher and higher in the conference, and then when he finally got the bid to go in the States. He started off with like one win at States was just a huge accomplishment at that. Like getting the States is one thing, but winning a match at States too, because you're going against other guys across the state that are just top tier or even better than you. And then a year after that, he was one match shy of placing at States. And then like this past year, he ended up once he got into the placing rounds. He kept going up, so it wasn't like he was content getting fifth or sixth just to say he placed. He's going for the goal. Like he wanted, like that was his goal as an eighth grader. Like, coach, I want to be a state champ. Like he goes with like Beazer. I think I can do wrestling. I want to be a state champ. He's like, hey, do Red Lion got any like champions? I was like, I don't think so. I was like, I've been around since '06. I haven't I've seen that Red Lion has a team, but like I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, we had one good dude. I don't know how far he ever got.
Right,
no one.
Like I think it was Buddy Smith. I don't know if you remember Buddy.
Oh, I know Buddy Smith. Yeah. I didn't know he got that far.
Yeah, like I think he got to States, but I don't think he placed at all. So that's and actually I was told him, I was like, dude, if you placed, I was like, I think you'd be like the first year, because last year, the year before that, Red Lion had their first state champion in golf. So they had a kid that placed, he won states at golf. He should have won twice, and he got like kind of cheated out of the year before that. That's politics with the whole guy golfing compared to girl golfing, like the distance stuff. It got crazy, but real good kid. He's at University of Maryland golfing right now. Real great kid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like I told him, I was like, yeah, man. So you'd be the first wrestler, and he's after it. So I'm praying that this year isn't a wash with the whole COVID. I'm hoping that he still get his season because this is senior year. Like I said, yeah. So. It'd be tough, get as far as he did last year to take fourth, and then to come in this year hungry, and he's getting bigger too, man. He showed me the scale. He's at 185, 180 something. And I'm like, dude, I had you as an eighth grader, and he was wrestling for me at 138, every year. It was crazy how he was talking about cutting weight earlier, because I used to be on him and it's it got to the point where sometimes he just looked miserable, man, trying to make weight, and just dude, you're good enough to go up a weight class, and it's just his contempt of that discipline making weight. So he wrestled this year at what did he do this year? 60? I think he did 60 this year. Or no, he did 70 this year because his older brother wrestled too. He did 82. So he did 70 and took fourth. So I think next year he might be wrestling 82. So it might be in his I think it'd be a great accomplishment for him.
Oh, definitely.
But I always tell him, I was like, if you don't though, I was like, at the end of the day, it's just something that, the mindset and mentality I gave you in this sport goes into life. So when you
really does.
Whenever you get tough times with bills, remember you did, grueling hours of practice just for 6 minutes. Just for a 6 minutes match, you did 8 hours of me yelling at you, making you sweat every day. That same mindset, all right, you're going to be hungry. All right, you might have to eat PB&Js for a couple of days, but, you're keeping a roof over your head. So it's that same mindset. So I'm hoping that, he gets really into it. I'm not sure if he's thinking about doing it in college. He's really into politics. I know he's looking for, colleges for, getting into, debate and, politician stuff. So... So yeah,
good luck with that.
Yeah, I was saying there's certain things for certain people and there's certain things for others. So that's his bread and butter. So he's wrestling and then getting in politics. So I was like, hey, keep that mindset. You might be running our country one day. So I was like, if you do that, you better make sure you remember Coach Beazer, man. Where you started, make sure you give you a shout out. That. So, yeah, man, that's where we're at now. So I'm hoping to bring back stronger kids next year. Hopefully they all be hungry to get out the house and get wrestling. So it's crazy. So
yeah, man, definitely. Well, we can wrap it up there, man. And it's been great having you on and hearing your stories and stuff like that. Like I love hearing about people's mindsets and stuff. Like that's why I have that poster that says "Mindset is everything."
Right.
And it's that cat looking in the puddle and he sees a lion.
Yeah. That's
you know what I mean?
That's a dope pic right there, man.
Yeah, I love it.
In my house, because that's something a lot of people forget. They just always want to see that kitten, and it's like it's more, and you gotta just
there's more inside you. There's more that you gotta bring out, And sometimes it takes years to figure it out. Like with me, it took years and years.
But it's there though. That's the thing. It's in you.
And now I'm digging deeper and I'm finding more about myself every day.
Right.
And that's what I strive for, and that's all people can really do.
All right. Like I said, man, it's been an honor, man. Like I catch you on the podcast on YouTube and all that. I see you on Instagram and I keep up with it. Like, I gotta try some of these cool supplements you got, man. You got some crazy flavors that I do want to. I see the cocoa pebbles up there, and I saw like the whiskey and cola. I was like, man, those are like I'm not into the fruity stuff and all that.
Yeah. So the whiskey and cola, I have no idea what that tastes like. So Becca tried it and she was like, "Oh, that does taste like exactly that." I was like, "All right, but dude, it's so good." I even poured it in a glass with like ice and stuff and just chilled. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "This is so good."
All right, so you got me sold. I got to try that, but man, I've been itching. It's like I was about to reach out to you. It's like, yo, when can I, get on there and just holler at you, man? Because Heather always talks like, man, you and Ben are so alike. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, this is going to be a dope time, man. We're going to have fun and just, chit chat it up and just, it's like it's crazy because we're around the same age, so we know the same people, we know the same athletes we grew up watching and stuff, and we just we just understand that grind and we understand the work ethic. We have that same mindset. We're that tiger, we're that kid, and that tiger thing, and just that's what I like. That's what that thrives me, to meet people like that. I love finding people that people say, man, this person is like you. I'm like, dude, I want to meet that person. I want that friendship to be the best friendship because they're like me. We're always gonna have a good time. We're always gonna get after it.
Which is why I love doing the podcast because I hear different people's perspectives about things and how they think and how they see the world and different stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And just enlighten people, man. Just enlighten people.
It's fun. It's fun to do.
Awesome. So, hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's been a blast. Like I said, I got excited once you gave me the call. Like, yo, you come through. I was like, yes, let's do it.
Yeah, man, definitely. Appreciate you.